Hi, this is Greg Koopman. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up on a Azure Virtual Machine a network share to an Azure storage share folder. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a resource group, and we're just going to call this resource group, let's see, we'll call it Demo File Share, or Demo Gen 2 File Share. Okay, that's what we'll call it. All right, and Central US, we're in Texas, yes, create, and validate and create. Okay, so now we got ourselves a resource group. It's already created, and we're going to go to that resource group. Okay, Demo Gen 2 File Share. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is create a storage account. So storage account, I'm just going to go into my storage accounts here, and I'm going to add a storage accounts, and I'm going to select my resource group, Demo Gen 2, Demo Gen 2 File Share, storage account name, I'm just going to call that Demo Gen 2, same thing I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it exactly the same thing, and then I'm maybe call it, I don't know, storage. File share store. Okay, so standards fine, review and create, not a big deal, create, and it's created. Okay, next thing I want to do is go into my, once that's created, I'm going to go into that and use that to create my network share. All right, so let me now go into my virtual machines. Okay, and so Lab 4 is one I've been using. I'm just going to go in there real quick, and I have it with very limited. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to start it. I'm using very limited A1, basic A1 for my size, which is really cheap. So, and I'm also starting it when I need it. So, not paying hardly any money for this. So now that's starting. So I have the that's where I'm going to do my VM on. Okay. The last thing I want to point out is that when I initially tried this from my client computer, my own personal computer, and tried to set up the share. But for some reason, AT&T and different big internet providers block a port and won't let it go through. And okay, so here it is. It's Azure Block Network Share on client port 445. So how to connect to this, and it goes through some things, but these don't work. From what even this article, I did not get it to work, and I think a lot of people couldn't get it to work anyways. If you have ever been blocked by Azure files due to ISP's port 445, your ISP like AT&T, you can set up a point to site VPN to your Azure files. Refer to the suggestion. Actually, I did set up a point to site. It still didn't work. But you can't without, maybe you can with a point to site. I couldn't get it to work either from that. But so what happened was I went and I did I just created an Azure VM. I knew that wouldn't be blocked because it's on the same, it's in the same center and everything as Azure is. It's all part of Azure, so they're not blocking each other there. So and that did work. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate to you. Okay. So let's just go back to what we were looking at here. And again, this you can look this up. You can Google it or something. Azure Block Network Share if you really want to try to get it on your local client. I have seen demos on the internet where they're doing that. I think they might be in another country. I'm not sure. But it's ill-advised to open that port. And even if you did, I don't know whether you can even get through it because I think it's blocked. It's somewhere up the channels. Okay, so let's go back to my lab. And what we did was we started the VM, which is Lab 04. Okay, and my I'm going to go back to my storage account. And a quick way to get to your stuff, your recent stuff, just click on here and you'll see like your latest stuff. Okay, so Lab 04, I can just jump back there, which is kind of nice. Okay, so now I'm at Lab 04 Virtual Machine. Actually, I want to get to the storage demo, which is demo gen 2 file, right? Okay, so I go back to the resource. Here's my file share. Now I haven't set up a file share yet, so let me just do that real quick. It's not much to it. Just go to Storage Explorer, go to File Shares. There's nothing in here, so create a file share, and I'll just call this Greg's C file share. All right, and I'll give myself a quota of 5 gigabytes and create. Okay, so now I got a file share. I put a couple tables, a couple files in there just for kicks, and file shares. Now I should see it. There we go. Okay, and let me just put a new folder in here. We'll call that folder YouTube. Oops. YouTube demo. Okay. Actually, I think I can do some camel case on this. YouTube demo. Okay. So there's my folder name. That's nice, so I can actually see it. But if you ever worked moving files around, this is really cumbersome. It just doesn't work well. And I want to store a lot of my files, like a lot of my PBIX files from Power BI in here. And when I pull it up in my Power BI desktop, I can't really pull it up because it's looking for a drive letter. So a lot of stuff you work with in your applications, you need a network share so you can you can assign it a drive letter so you can access it just like your regular, just like you do on your network, right? So that's why they keep the file shares around. So it's kind of like backward compatible, and it makes an easy transition for people to move over to their storage over to Azure, right? Okay, and my storage account. Well, let's just get this other information. We're going to need this kind of information. So now I'm going to go back to my Storage Explorer. Okay, I'm just going to back out of here one shot. And let's go back in there. Let's grab some files and put them in there. So I just click File Shares and Greg Share. Okay, and I go to my YouTube demo. Not add a directory. I'm sorry, upload. And here I'll go ahead and say select the file, and I'll just go down to. Let's grab all these files. Open. And upload. Okay, so it's going right now. While that's going, they're already there. Okay, I'm going to need a few things before I go into the VM to set up my file share. And one is I need to go to my file shares here. I need to get this name here. Okay, so should be able to access it. There we go. So I'm going to copy that, my notepad, paste, and I need to go and get the name of my storage account, which is right here. Copy that. Now it's going to go, so my share is going to look like this, / Okay, I know this, and this is how whenever you set it up, it's going to look like this. So you're going to need your file, your storage name, right? Storage account name, and you're going to need your share name. Okay, so that's done there, and then they're going to need 2 more pieces of information, and those are going to be really only going to need 1 more piece of information. You're going to need your access key. So you go back to your file store, you go to your access key, and under key 1 or key 2, either one will work. Click copy, go back, paste. Okay, So this is going to be part of your credential. This is going to act as your password. And your username is going to be always start with Azure, and it's going to be Azure, then the storage name. Just like that. Okay, so let me just write this down. I'm just going to say share name. All right. This is going to be what you call your username, which, so it's not like a normal username. It's a different, it's set up differently. So username. And this is all part when you log in, when you set the share on the VM, when it asks for the credentials. And this is going to be your password. That's the box that will go in. Okay, so we got all our information there ready to go. So let's go over to the VM and get working. Okay, so let's just go over to the VM, which is Lab 4, right? And it's set up for IP 10.10.0.4. Now, I'm going to go ahead and run a VPN, which I set up in another video, or it will be in another video. And by having it, if you see it's a private IP address, right? So if I'm not on the VPN to the Azure, I can't get to it, right? Even from a remote desktop. I'd have to have a public IP address. But in this particular demo, I'm just going to go ahead. So you don't need to have a VPN if you elect to have a public IP address, which is all part of your setup for for your virtual machine. So if you don't want to have a public IP address, just a private, you need to set up a VPN. Okay, so let me just turn on my VPN, which is down in here, which is called 4 Hybrid. And if you want to watch my video on this, you can. I'm just going to connect and continue. Yes. But again, this piece is unnecessary if you already have a public IP address, which is nothing to get. It isn't like it's you got to go to GoDaddy or something to go get it. You don't have to. You just get it right while you're setting up the VM. Just say I want a public IP address, and we'll give it to you. And they will either give you a one that every time you reboot, it's a dynamic, or you can keep a static one. Okay, but you don't have to go out to GoDaddy and do all sorts of stuff to get the IP address. Okay, a permanent one. Okay, so as you see, we're connected. So now I'm going to be able to get into that, which is my 10.04. So I'm going to go to my, here, it's already in there. So I'm just going to hit connect. And this is going, when I set my VM, I have my own password here. Okay, so I just put in my I paste my password. Paste, okay. And I click OK. And it's trying to connect, and it's connecting. And you'll set up your name, your administrator name of your VM, and your password also when you create the VM. So that's where my name and password came from. Now it's going to log in. This is going to take a little while because I only have like 1.75 gigabytes of space. Actually, it might not take that long. Okay, so we'll come back to this. Okay, so now we got all our pieces ready to go for our network share. Okay. Okay, so now we're back. So let me take a look at the VM. I'm sure it's all set. Good. Let's look at the File Explorer. Okay, I'm back, and what we're going to do is set up that network. I'm sorry, the share to the storage on Azure to that share. So let's go ahead and okay. So first of all, to get to the share, to set up the share, you got to click on this PC. When you click on this PC, because if you're on other things, your menu options here doesn't give you what you're going to need. Okay, so you click on this PC up at the top here. Then you go to Computer, and you'll say Map Network Drive. Okay, Map Network Drive. And you're going to be asked for the share name. Okay, so you see there's an example here for the share name. Okay, as we discussed earlier, and I remember I took down some notes inside my notepad. Well, let's go look at those. Now is the time to look at those. So remember we had the file share name here, and we had the storage account, and we put in a backslash and a double backslash because that's the formatting it's looking for. So we're going to copy that, and we're going to go back in and just paste it here. Okay, we're going to connect using a different credential because sometimes if it messes up and errors for some reason or other, we want to be able to get back in easily. So hit finish, and as you see, it already typed in our user credential, which is this guy here. But because I had done this before, and actually I made a mistake, so that's why you're seeing that there. And that part is correct. But generally, your first time, it will ask you for the user ID, and you'll type in Azure, which is normal, and backslash, then the storage name. That's what you're going to use for username. Okay, so let's go back here, take a look at that, and that's what we got. Second of all, for your password, we're going to use the access key that we copied in here earlier in the video. Okay, it has to be exact. Okay, so you're just going to copy that, and you're going to go back and you're going to copy that into password. Okay, so I might put down remember my credentials and say OK, and if everything works right, which is pretty simple fill out, right? It should work right, and it did not. Okay, so why did it not work? Okay, so something is wrong with one of our pieces here. So I have the folder, which is // demo gen 2 file share store, Greg C file share. Now that looks right. Okay, and my Azure demo gen 2 file share store looks right, and my password looks right. So what's wrong with this? Well, let me try it again, because right now everything does look right, but I must be doing something wrong. So let me just copy this again, make sure I got that copied right. Copy, be very careful, and go back over here. Greg C file share looks right. Greg C file share, demo gen, okay, finish. It'll ask me for my login. Azure demo gen, so if we looked up here, you see demo gen. That's what we did wrong. Okay, this is what we did wrong. And this is good to recognize. So we're going to go back in, and what I did wrong was the way the storage name is. That's incorrect. That's not where we get how we get our storage name. Yes, this is part of it, but it's not the whole thing. So let's go back in, and let me show you where we get that. Okay, I made this mistake before. So we're back at the file storage name, right? And here it is. And when we get the location, we don't just use that name. Okay, what we need to do is go into properties, and we go down to, this is very important, we go down to file service, because that file service it means the share part, right? And we go to primary file service endpoint, this piece right here. That's the guy. I'm just going to use the copy button here and make sure I don't mess up. Do it twice. and we need that guy. Okay, so now I'm going to replace this with that. Okay, now we get rid of the forward slashes. We get rid of these forward slashes and the HTTPS. Okay, now that's the share name. That is correct. All right, you see that? So we have to copy that in. Here's our file share, but here's our storage account the way it's listed. And we have to change this forward slashes to backslashes. Okay, so there's a little bit of, messing around with this name to get it in the right format and to get the right content. Okay, so I think once we put that in instead for our share name, we'll be off to the races. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and replace the share name with that. Control V. Okay, and it looks good. Let's just make sure we got our 2 slashes in front. Good. So it's in the format like here, right? Okay, now we'll say finish, which will let us log in. Let me come back here and copy this account name, account key very carefully. Copy. Go back. Paste it in for the password. I'll say remember my credentials, and I'll say OK. Let's try to connect. Oh, it looks like it connected. It didn't give me an error. So let's go back to the file manager, and here we are. So it's connected to my Z drive. All right, and as you see, I got my YouTube demo folder showing. It shows my name of my storage account, and then it shows the name of my share. So here's so I have my files in there, right? So I got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's open up Note 1. I know that will open. There's Greg. Okay, cool. So you see how easy this is. It's just like working on your normal network. Okay, your normal, it works just the way it is. No downloading and all this extra stuff you have to do when you're doing it from Azure, from the Azure site. Okay, so I just opened a JPEG, and here comes a picture, and that's I guess that's somebody studying Azure probably. And let's just go in for kicks and giggles. Let's go ahead and just add a file here. If I got one, don't have one there. Windows has some. So let's just take one of these files here. Where's one? So take professional XML document. We'll just copy. We'll go to file share. Go to YouTube. Paste. Copies it in with no problem. So we got professional there. Okay, that's got there. Let's go back to Azure and see if it ended up in our spot over there. So we're back over in Azure. We go to up to Storage Explorer. And we'll go to File Shares. Go to File Share. Go to our folder, and we're looking for, there's professional right there. Okay, so it's just nice and easy. You set up a network share, you're in a VM, it's just like working with regular Windows all the time. And you're saving it to the Gen 2 files. You're saving up with all the goodies of Azure, with all the backup storage and everything else. And the VM, you can have that set up on our daily backup. So you're really much more safe in many ways, at least I am, than my personal computer at home, which I really don't back up, have to admit. And, by putting out there, and then I have, the VM, I can shut that off at 10 o'clock every night, and I don't get it started maybe the next day or whatever, so it's not being charged for it. I might even have it on a very low, super low size, which decreases my costs a lot. So it's affordable. It's it's better, and because I do a lot of prototyping and that kind of thing, I don't want to lose my information. And also I'm working with Azure a lot, so it's helped me learn Azure a lot better. I can experiment. And so I hope you like this video. We'll go back to the share just to take it one. So I jump back to my VM, and there's my share. There's the file we moved over there. Everything's working well. All right, well, thanks again for watching. Hope you have a good day.